Guess what? I've been trying to learn to code for the past 10 years. I failed miserably. It was too challenging for me. I guess I'm not smart enough. But today, thanks to AI, we can actually do API calls without knowing how to code using make.com. So today I will just show you my prompt to generate different types of unit at make.com. So at the end of it, it will actually make a successful API call and allow us to use different types of products and services. One of the main problems when trying to do an API call, usually you have syntax error. If you don't know how to code, it can get very complicated. It can spend hours and hours and hours and hours. Why AI is so good for API calls? Because you can automatically generate that API calls. You could just tell Claude in the backend, hey, I want you to do the API call. How do Claude know how to do that API call? You need to let it read the documentation. So let's dive in. Let's build a simple way to create an API call using make.com, and I show you exactly how it's going to work. So I'm going right here. This is an example of a dashboard that I've built. Basically, I get a webhook here with a request, and in that request I get data. Then I tell Claude right here, I want you to take the prompt and the URL, there is a reference image over there, and I want you to write a JSON file in this format. Then I take the HTTP make a request. So this is the general model to do a general API call to any type of service when you use make.com. In this specific example, I'm using Luma Labs API. Luma Labs, one of my favorite tools to generate videos, and when you do it like that, check it out. So this is the tool and so on. It's a very cool video generator. In this specific example, I created this type of call that just take a can of Coke and fly it to the moon. That's the example, and the video looks quite awesome. So it's been all automating using this automation in this API call. Then I have here a delay of 120 seconds. Why? Because it takes some time to generate the video. Then another AI that says I want you to take the data that is out from that request, and I want you to output the generation ID only. That's the video ID. And then I use another request. You post the request and then you get it. So I post the request. I said I wanted to create that video. Now I'm taking it back. So that's the electricity plug I've been talking about. Okay, and I told it to generate the ID only, so I could put it in the URL and I could get the exact value. Don't worry, I will show you exactly how it's going to work. Now let's dive right in and see how exactly it's working. Okay, let's give it a shot. Okay, let's take this image for example. Let's go to my webhook. Let's put the image right here, upload, generate video, and let's send the webhook to make and get it. Okay, it's got the data with the image and all of the relevant things, and it generated the JSON file. So this is the content, text, the output, Coke can dancing with the image as a reference. Now we have here the delay. Now sometimes it's buggy, sometimes it's not going to work, but we can see that the HTTP request, the API call was actually made. Now we're waiting. If we go to the Luma Labs API, we could see that it actually received the request, which is good. This is good for us. Okay, still waiting, and there you have it. Everything worked. If I go back to Airtable, I might see a video here. Let's check out this video. Play. So the cock is not dancing, but it's moving around in space. And that's basically what happened. We created a successful API call with make.com. So let's break it down step by step, and I'll show you exactly how to build an automation that create an API call for you and basically automate your creation. So in the first step, we will receive a webhook. I talked about it before. I said I have a video only about creating webhooks. Check it out. How to create a webhook? You just connect this module to custom webhook, and that's about it. Now you need to connect it to Airtable. That's the tool that I'm using in order to get the data. So let's do get a record, and that's about it. You have one webhook that is fully automated. If you go here to my automations, you'll see, you can check it in another video, but whenever I press this checkbox, I have this view named send to make, means that it enters a new view and then it triggers an automation, it triggers some kind of a script. So when it enters that view with a checkbox, it runs a script. That's the script. I already shared it with many different people. I already shared it with you. You can check it out. There you go. So in the script, you need to put that specific webhook so it will receive that data from Airtable. This is the data I received. The Coke can that is dancing, which is my prompt, the URL, and so on. Now, this is the tricky part. In order to create an API call, what I'm doing is using two different modules. One, the AI Claude, and one that is doing the call for me. So what I need to do in every API call that I'm doing, I need to read the documentation. So I'm going to the documentation page of Luma Labs, and I go into API, and then I know that this is what I need to do. Copy all of it, and I drop it into Claude, and I say, this is the API doc for Luma Labs. I want to make an API call using make.com. I'm adding now the screenshot of the API call of make. Now I tell it, please give me step by step what is the format of the JSON file I need to fill in that make.com module. Perfect. So I'm basically using Claude right now, an LLM, to tell me what to write, how to do the API call. So it tells me choose an HTTP module in make.com, and done. So let's do HTTP, and that will be the make request. Then I configure the URL. So API Luma Labs generation. Perfect. So that's exactly what I'm doing. I'm going back to make. I put the right URL. If you go back here, you'll see it's the same URL. Method is post, name, authorization. Let's see if the AI also say it here. Okay, so it actually tells me step by step what I need to do. Why? Because I copy and pasted the documentation from the API of Luma Labs. So it was simple as that, copy and paste. I'm lazy and I'm not smart, so I'm using AI to help me with that. And that's how you build the API call. Now, this is the tricky part. The tricky part is that under the body type, you need to have raw, and then content type is JSON. And then what you need to have here is a JSON file, okay? JSON is just type of way to render this specific content, so it would know how to read it. How do I actually create it in the right JSON file? So what I do here, it gave me an example of how the API request of a JSON file look like. So all I need to do is just copy it, add here another prompt, and just give it as context. Just say something like, this is the JSON file I am looking for. Please output only a JSON file. Okay, and I give it as context. Now what you can do is to change the variables that you get from Airtable to this JSON file. For example, here you have your text description and the video you want to generate. So I literally just take it from Airtable. So if I go back here, you could see that the prompt is actually taken from here, the dancing Coke. Type image. My JSON file is a bit shorter because I took away like the different aspects of ratio and so on. It asks me if I want to loop it, yes or no, aspect ratio, perfect. And I tell it just JSON output and nothing more. Then what I need to do is just go back here, and the output would be my JSON file that will do the API call. And it's simple as that. If you'll go here, you can actually see that the JSON file was activated and you have a bunch of data. And that's about it. So it worked. And then I create a delay module. So I let it sleep because it takes a few seconds to generate the video. So I just give it like 100 seconds of delay. And then what I need to do is to make the right requests. How do I make the right request? In this specific use case, I go here and I see that I have ID, very specific ID. If I go back to the documentation, it will tell me, hey, you need a specific video that you've just generated. By the way, I can go back here to the API and say, get the video generated using make. How can I do that? And then it will actually tell me. That's how I've built it myself. So you need to use the HTTP model, I add the weight mode. It actually tells you all of the things I just taught you. And it tells you that you need the specific ID right here, which is great. So in order to do that, all I had to do was go to Claude again, give it the output that includes the ID, the one that I received from here, and I told it, hey, I want you to take this data and retrieve only the ID of the generation. This is the data output, the generation ID only, without any extra text. And then I just put it in the URL, and that's how you grab it. That's how you bring back the video. And then all I had to do is to take the output and bring it back to Airtable, and that's how I got my video. So, and there you have it. So let's see it real quick. And that's the video. Just for fun, before moving forward, let me just try to create one more video and show you how it's going to work. Add a video. You need to add an image. Let's pick one from our computer where I am Iron Man. Why not? And let's say to it that I want this Iron Man to explode. Iron Man explode. Oh my god. So I pressed run this module only, and let's see again how it's going to work step by step after I broke it down for you. Send the webhook right now to make. Perfect. It got the data, it got the prompt, it got the image. Now it generates the JSON file and make an API request. Now we have a delay of 120 seconds because we want the Luma Labs to generate the video. It takes some time. So we'll wait. Okay, now it's generate the AI, it's doing the API retrieve video, and it brought it back to Airtable. Let's take a look and check out the video. Let's see if the video is nice or not. Okay, boom. So we have a very weird video as I'm getting aged and explosive behind me. Weird. But what we're trying to do here is just to show you how you could use the API. Obviously, you can also do other cool stuff, like actually reading through the API and see and think, wait, maybe I could also list all generation or get generations with ID. That's what I did before. Maybe I could play around with the generations because I'm going to build this type of app right now, and that's why I need to do it. Maybe we need to extend the video with an end frame, which is something I'm definitely going to explore. So a lot of cool stuff you could do here. So that was my tutorial about checking out technical documentation, calling API using make.com. In this specific tutorial, I show you how to call the Luma Labs API, but you could do it with any API. Slack, Google Calendar, whatever API you see out there. The sky is literally the limit. Using this methodology of asking Claude how to build stuff and then do it with make.com, that will help you to build your desired project. That's about it. Don't forget to like and subscribe. See you in the next video. Bye.